Welcome back to News Geelong Friday edition as we turn to the action-packed world of Geelong sport. And our own flying hawk, Nathan Curry. Good evening, Nathan.
Thank you very much, Rollo. Well, the Geelong Cats are off to Perth to take on Fremantle tomorrow night at Patterson Stadium. But before they left, we caught up with Chris Scott just to ask him a few questions about the upcoming weekend. Now, Scotty, we've heard Billy Smets has got some real problems with his back. What's his long-term future?
Well, he's actually on the improve. So he was having some problems about a month ago. He had an incident where it was really innocuous. He was actually at home and he bent over and got some spasms in his back. So we're confident that he's improving quickly. But again, he's a long-term player. So we can't, none of us internally, and the people who are invested in Geelong can judge these players over a 12-month period, even a 24-month period. We're in the position where we do have some seasoned AFL players that can help carry the load. Now, we want to give young players opportunity, but for us, the most important thing is that those guys are fully prepared to play really good AFL footy in 3 years.
What have you made of Fremantle through the pre-season?
Yeah, they obviously had an interrupted pre-season from a personnel perspective. A little bit hard to get a gauge on where they're really at. They're probably a little bit the same as us in the pre-season games. They obviously went in with a different agenda for some of the games, but then were able to play really good footy round one. So when you take a long-term approach with some of your players in the pre-season, as they clearly did with guys like Hill and Ballantyne, and then you get over the line round one, you quite rightly feel vindicated for those decisions. How it affects them in the medium term, I'm not sure, but I know they have a lot of very good players. I'm acutely aware of their strengths. I'm not so sure that knowing those strengths makes it any easier to combat them. I haven't seen a lot work against Aaron, but one thing everyone knows, and I'm not telling Fremantle anything they don't know, they rely on him to do a hell of a lot of work. So my understanding is that they would have protected him a bit over the pre-season. So whether he's at his absolute best this week, I'm not sure. We're certainly preparing for him to be at his best, which is pretty ominous.
What did you make of Freo's game last Saturday?
I thought they hung in there really well. I think it was a lot like some of the other games in round one. It wasn't the prettiest football at times, but as is the modern way at Fremantle, their good young players seemed to stand up when the game was on the line. Even those guys that had limited preparations, I mean, Hill, Ballantyne, Mundy would be far from their best, but they were pretty influential on the game.
Do you look at taking in 2 ruckmen to try and extend Aaron Sandilands?
Oh, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. That's certainly one option. If you include Tom Hawkins, we've got 5 ruckmen on our list. So in a way that could be perceived as a weakness, but it does give us some flexibility. Double teaming Aaron is one way to go, but also throwing something completely different at them is another way to go. As I said, I've seen lots of options against him. I haven't seen a lot work.
Looking forward to coaching against ours for the first time?
Yeah, we don't really look at it as coaching against him personally. I mean, it's not personal. It's Geelong against Fremantle. I'd be very surprised if they changed too much. They improved a hell of a lot last year, and a lot of the things that they improved on are what's going to make them a good team long term. Am I looking forward to the challenge? Well, I'm looking forward to going back and playing at a ground against a team that I know is one of the bigger challenges in the competition. Fremantle beat Geelong, basically 12 months ago. We've just got to make sure that it's a different story this time.
Speaking of their big man, do you think Sandilands will be the biggest challenge tomorrow night?
It's hard to split. I think Fremantle's top tier of players is exceptional. A lot of players that don't necessarily get the recognition outside of Perth will be well and truly in our thinking. I love Hayden Ballantyne as a player. He just gives so much energy. He's an antagonistic little midget who'll get under people's skin, and I respect him all the more for it. Stephen Hill is going to be one of the great players of the competition if he's not already. David Mundy won the best and fairest. He's a fantastic player. I haven't even talked about Pavlich yet. He's still Fremantle's best player along with Aaron. So yeah, we've got a bit to think about. We've got some reasonable players ourselves, though.
Can we expect Cameron Ling to play a slightly different role this season?
It's unknown at the moment. I'm sure you'll see him play in a wider variety of roles. He'll play as a defensive midfielder at times, but I think a lot of people forget Cam's got a lot to offer as a genuine midfielder as well. Someone that can give you plenty offensively. A lot of people forget. It wasn't very long ago, and he was one of, I'm told, Geelong's top 8 players last year. So one average game in a final doesn't mean the end for Lingy. But at his best, he was the type of player that could not only nullify the opposition's best player, but still get plenty of the ball himself. We don't see any reason why that needs to change, but what we are asking for from a lot of our players is to be a bit more flexible in their position. Don't think of themselves as just an on-baller or just a forward. We need a little bit more of an even contribution from a bigger group of players. Finally,
Scotty, how does previously coaching at Fremantle help you in this match?
It helps me understand what makes them a good side, but if you're going to be a genuinely good side, then the opposition eventually will know what you do acutely. Everyone, I would assume, in the football community knows what Collingwood does and what makes them a good side. It's just still really hard to stop it. And I mean, that's what we're trying to be as well. Geelong have been that over the last few years. Over time, some clubs would say that they've worked out a method that limits Geelong a little bit more. St Kilda would say they're pretty good at making it hard for Geelong to score. That's why we've all got to improve. But yeah, I know what they do. They will have evolved even more. They will have improved certain things that I don't necessarily know about. Stopping them is the hard part.
Thanks very much for your time, Chris, and good luck to you and your boys tomorrow night. That's it for sport this week. I'll be back again on Wednesday, but until then, as always, it's back to you, Rollo.
Thank you, Nathan. And now to the latest weather information. A very good evening to sparkling Lani Salathiel. Good evening, Lani.
Thank you, Graham. As our autumn weather continues in and around Geelong, let's look at the week ahead. Tomorrow, Saturday, will be a partly cloudy day with some isolated showers in the morning and a top of 18. For Sunday, will also be a cloudy day with some isolated showers around and an expected top temperature of 19. To start off next week, Monday will be a cloudy day with some isolated showers again and a top of just 17. For Tuesday, there will be a chance of morning drizzle with a mostly sunny afternoon, a top of 19. Wednesday will be a mostly sunny day, warming up just a tad, 22. And Thursday will also be a mostly sunny day with a top of 24. And today was a mostly sunny day with some isolated showers this evening with a top of 21. And that's the weather for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Happy birthday to my housemate Juzzy, who's 24 today. Have a nice weekend, and it's back to you, Graham.
Thank you, Lani. And thank you for being with us on News Geelong. Good luck to Big Dick Philpott and the GDFL team at Anarchy tomorrow, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning for the netball show, 8:30 for the footy show. And Dick, take your time and smell the flowers. From all the team at News Geelong, have a pleasant evening, a safe and enjoyable weekend, and a very good night.